What's up guys, it's Spiderwolf back for another JJKPhantomparade video. So today we're going to be talking about the new SP expansion thing basically for characters. But before we get started, I greatly appreciate you guys drop a like, comment, subscribe. It would really help me out trying to get subscribers. But with that being said, let's get into this. So we have this new SP potential system here, which basically is a way to buff characters, their stats, mainly their skills, basically makes them go from maybe shut tier to good tier or bad tier to mid tier basically, right? So we have different things. We have a shop as well where we have like different like attack, HP, defense, stuff like that, over the color typing, so more than shop for that. And then we have 4 different types here. As you guys can see at the bottom here, it does reset every week on Monday, and it does reset about 4, and you can hold up to, so you basically can hold up to a max of 8, but it should give you 4 every single week. At least when I logged in, it gave me 4, so I'm assuming it's 4 every week. So basically you have red, blue, green, and then the red one is weak to yellow type, the blue one is weak to red type, the green one is weak to blue type, and then the yellow is weak to green type. So the way you want to do this is you want to build for the most part a mono team. Now there's some characters you can maybe run here and there if they're built pretty high enough, and even if you do have a color disadvantage, they might still be worthwhile to use. But of course you probably want to try and go for a more mono team, right? Well, of course, having specific like key units are gonna help you do a lot of damage, right? I already did a little bit of these, so that's why it just says 2 out of 8. With the red one, I was able to hit up to 5 out of 10, so that was pretty cool. And then for the, I think was it the blue one or maybe it was the yellow one? Because I did one more where I hit 5 out of 10 as well. There's also a quick battle, which if I'm correct, we'll test that on a second here. But I'm pretty sure this. Well, actually, I don't know if I'll test it because it's tested 2 out of 8, but. I'm pretty sure this is just like it'll instantly clear it, and then you'll get all the rewards. Also, for what you guys are wondering, is what the rewards are. So bare minimum we want to try and clear is at least rank 4. And basically the way it works is that like the boss, you fight a boss, which we'll go into and I'll show you guys. Basically there's a boss, you clear it, every time its HP bar goes all the way down to 0, it revives, but then you move on to the next rank, it'll be more difficult and stuff like that. There's also a max limit of turns. I think it's like 15 or 17. So, even if you survive for that many turns, if you don't kill, then that's a round end, right? But yeah, bare minimum, I'd say you probably want to get to at least rank 4 to at least get a chance of getting the higher tier rewards and at least getting bare minimum of the general reward. Of course, the higher up you go, right, the more of everything you get, right? So it goes up to you get 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then 75 out 5. But then if you go down to like rank 4, it's like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 5, 4, 4. So the rewards are definitely a lot smaller, but at least you have a chance of getting the bare minimum of the the rewards as a rank. Yeah, we'll go ahead and run into one of these. Let's actually go ahead and do the blue one, and then I don't know if I have a red team set up here, but if I don't, I will see you guys in a second. All right, so I decided to use this as my team here. I don't think it's an overall decent team. Basically using Yaga, the mixed match of Gojo, Yuta, Bar, and Toji. If you guys are running for other options, I'd say Yaga. Most people probably have Yaga, so you guys can pick him. If you guys were here around for the JJKpp's 0 collab, either for the first round or the second one when they have the rerun, you can use him if you guys get for him. There might be some people that do have random monsters using another option of random monsters to do so. Very, for the most part, there's like 3 limited characters here that are very, very good. Some of them, like I said, some people want him to bar, so you can run her. Other options, this Toge might not be too bad, so at least you can stop the boss from hurting you too much. This Nanami might not be too bad if you want to run double buffers. This Miwa might not be too bad as well, so she can, she does decent damage. She's not too crazy, but another decent character here to run for this team, because she's like overall a decent character. Hanami is also not that bad of an option. Decent damage, but their main thing is just like reducing damage, basically reducing voltage. So Hanami here might not be that bad of an option either if you want to run that. Both Makis here, kind of whatever. This Todo with one, I forgot what buff it was, but there's like a buff you can get, unless he already has it now, makes him like kind of decent. So if you want to run Todo, he would be like an okay option. And then Red Panda would be like another okay option as well, like because he's more of a tank character, so this is another like decent option. I think he does have some DPS capability, but yeah, Panda's another decent option because they do have him. And then that's pretty much about it, at least in terms of like what characters I have that I can think of. And then there's a red Toge that's supposed to come out soon, but I'm pretty sure we don't have it yet. I know we don't have that Toge yet. But yeah, I'll probably look also on the. if you guys want, I'll pull up the list in a little bit here, and then we'll look at the different like killer teams basically or characters. for more options as to what you guys could potentially run right for this. But yeah, there's like a whole bunch of different options here. All right, but yeah, basically, I let it run on auto here. You can actually let it, you can play it yourself if you want to, because honestly, it kind of is better if you do it manually, because sometimes the AI will do something kind of weird where it just won't like do the right skills, or maybe it'll ult at a really bad time. Also, don't worry about if you double ult, because the ult does transfer. Like there's times where like you kill with the first ult, then maybe it's like it doesn't die, but then you do another ult, and it's like, oh, I'm wasting my ult, right? Because it's like maybe they have like 1 HP left, right? It's fine, because if that does happen, the boss will carry over that damage to the next HP bar, so you're good to go there. And then of course, if you do have an ultimate that does kill it at the beast, still have another one lined up, it won't count that one. That one will like be stopped there, and then you'll have it available to select again. So there can be some situations where that can be bad, where you may lose out on some damage because your first ultimate did too much with all the skills, and then you can't really abuse the extra damage that you get from like doing combo. So that's a bit of a downside with this, is that there could be situations like that where you might get screwed over, and then boom, it's kind of like, oh well, shit, there goes my extra damage, right? And I just lost it. But this is basically for my running. I know very what's the word, like limited team. Like I said, 3 characters here that are limited. Granted, I am only using 2 limited at the moment, but Toji will basically, Toji's in the back basically is like my backup, like DPS character that will just come in, help out basically once like Gojo leaves, essentially. That's like the main thing here. But yeah, Gojo's like a really good option here. I'm assuming most of you guys have a Gojo if you guys were playing at least for the first for the global half anniversary. So he's really good, really strong character. Does some pretty good DPS damage as well, but he's more for like a support role, right? Playing debuff buffs. Because the main expansion basically like stopping the enemy from doing anything for like 2 turns. I think 2 to 3 turns. And then Yang here is just for, in general, really good buffer, right? Plus, since he's red, extra advantage in this case. I'm also running a survival recollection bit here. Now, you could try with more DPS focus one to get to more stats. That might not be a bad option either. I'm just running it just for like extra insurance, so my team kind of like help, stays alive a little bit longer. That's why I'm running that one. So if you guys do have any survivable recollection bits, this might not be a bad time to actually use them, just so your characters can stay alive for a bit longer. But like as I said, at the same time, it may not be that bad to go for the DPS focused ones. But then I guess it would kind of be, you could play like different ones, I suppose. If you have more DPS options that give you like attack boost and stuff, that would be more for like you're trying to clear as much HP as possible as soon as possible before the boss kills you, right? If you don't maybe have too many like characters that are like are able to survive longer, give themselves HP or HP 15. That would be, you could do it that way. Or in my like how I'm doing it, since this is kind of like, you kind of have to stay alive for quite a bit, right? In a situation like this, I do feel like survival recollection bits are more useful, like giving everybody more healing, maybe more defense reduction or something like that. I think in this case, something like this is kind of like, worth having, right? And even then, you got extra support by having 2 supporters, right? Like I was saying, you could run 2, yellow. You can run this Yaga. You can also run the red Nanami, right? And then basically, you can have both of them with 2 supportive recollections. So like when one's down and maybe you need that clutch heal, like I kind of do right now for myself, for my Yuta, I would have the other one saved up. I could use it, and then Yaga's will almost be ready to go by the time that you get to that point. There's different ways you can run this for sure, but I think that's probably going to be the 2 ways you probably run it. It's just big damage, basically, where you just focus fully on damage, buffs and all that. Try to clear as fast as possible, clear as much as possible, or you could try to go for the longer route, where you try to stay alive for a bit longer, and then you might have overall more DPS output by the time, by staying alive longer, being able to dish out more ultimates, not back to back, but like every like couple turns, ultimate, right? On top of different skills. But yeah, I do think Red Nabar is definitely gonna be another pickup that I feel like most people will probably have a good chance of having. So I think she's gonna be a really good option. Plus, her SP skills are actually really good. So she's a little bit of a spoiler, right? But I think she's gonna be another really good character, probably the best character currently according to JP, to focus on for building up the SP potential stuff. But then also for other characters like Itadori, that's really good. There's also the Green Nanami, he's also not too bad, but he does get power up eventually by Green Itadori. And then currently just the Red Nabar is really good. Another good option is actually the blue Jogo from the Phantomparade shop, the exchange shop. He's also another really good option when he gets his buffs as well. So, to have another really good blue DPS, you could choose him as well. Yeah, the max turn here is 17 turns, so yeah. So far, I think this is the highest I actually made with this team, but it's probably thanks to my Gojo here, or the mentioned Gojo, helping the team survive and then also dealing with them. So, you know, some of these you might get further than others, but this one was actually quite good. I thought this one was going to be a bit more difficult, but so far it hasn't been too difficult. Of course, you know, trying to get to like the max level is probably going to be a bit more difficult. It's going to require me to probably have more of my characters like built up to that current max like grade level on top of the current like level you can get with most characters, which I think is about 140 or 150. You have to double check on that one. But yeah, you know, so far my best one, so that's pretty good. And yeah, you know, I'll quickly do the last one here. I'll show you guys my team, and then I'll probably show you a bit more details as to the other aspect, like where you actually put this in and all that good stuff. So I'll see you guys in a second as well. All right, so this is my current green team that I'm going to run with. I think you could probably run red Yaga if you wanted to, or any of the support characters, but I'm going to try like this. It's probably not going to go that far because, you know, as you guys can see, right, it's not super leveled up here as much as it could be. But I'm probably going to run something like this here. I will probably swap this one for, like I said, the more survivable recollection. So any of you guys are wondering what this one does, a max here. Basically, you get 35% HP for all allies, which is pretty cool, and then you get there's also this one. I don't know. Let me see. This one gives you 35% damage reduction for one turn to all allies. That one's not too bad, and also gives first energy to everybody, so that one's pretty good. If you're trying to, you know, use skills very, very often, but expensive, that one's not too bad of an option as well. I think I do have one more support one or two down here, but regardless, this is the one we're probably going to be using for the time being because I think it's pretty good for hitting the team. I'd say best supporters are probably going to be this dude, this Gaku Ganji. He has a lot of great utility here for the team. Skill 1, if I remember, wasn't really that crazy for him because, yeah, because he buffs his own damage. What matters more is his skill 3, because basically you're applying debuffs to the enemy to where they take. The enemy will take more damage from physical, and he's basically the main supporter. You could also run Green Geto if you guys do have Green Geto, the teen version. He wouldn't be that bad of an option for this team. Purple Hole Gojo is probably not that bad of an option either. The one downside to this Gojo though is that when you do use his ultimate, he does leave. So that is kind of a downside. So you may want to just abuse this Gojo as much as possible. And then on his final turn, then you probably want to ult with him. So, you know, because he does leave when he does his ultimate. So that's the one downside of this Gojo. Mahito is a really, really good option for like most content in the game. So I'm assuming most of you guys already have Mahito. He is a free-to-play character. Probably one of the characters you probably want on this team. I'm also running the Itadori because he's really, really good. Granted, he's a little undercooked, but, you know, it's not a bad option. If you guys wanted to, you could also, another great option would be this Nanami. Like right now, he's probably pretty good. And I think he does have his SP potential unlocked as well. Wait, take a look here. Take a quick little sneak peek. This is where it should be. If you go to potential unlock, this should be where all the SP potential shenanigans are hiding. All right, yeah, I don't know. We'll look at that a little bit later, but this is basically the team I'm going to be running here. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, though, green on is probably a good option here to run. If you guys want to run him on the team, he's going to be pretty really good. This dude, Kaito, this Kaito's not too bad either. If you want to run him, he's not too bad. If you have him more leveled up and everything. I think this Momo isn't half bad either. I think he does some decent stuff. Let's see, she has a chance to stun all enemies. And then she gives everybody a 41% damage dealt increase to all allies of one time for 2 turns. And she goes self-efficient. So yeah, I think there's a decent option there. Basically helping you get a little bit of extra damage here while having different things that can stun the enemy. I think this Saki Rendo's not too bad either. Physical technique damage taken decreased itself. And then she's a taunt here, right? Yeah, so like another decent option to like take the damage, but you know, I'd say probably Kaito is really, really good. For lower tier characters, Nanami is really, really good. I must assume, you know, decent amount of you guys probably have Nanami, right? Because he's a standard banner character. But most people for sure probably have Kaito and this Momo, so I'd say they're a really good pickup. Oh, we'll try it out. We'll try this team out here. It shouldn't be too bad, but yeah. Let me know in the comments below, like, who you guys are going to be picking first. Or if you guys are going to maybe be going like a general, like, oh, I'm going to put some into this character, put some resources into another character, and, you know, kind of like spread it around. Sometimes it's not really the best case, at least from my notice from most gacha games, like, but that's usually for more like if you're just starting a brand new gacha game, where you don't really want to spread your resources out too much. You rather kind of like hone in on like a certain like amount that's like small, and then eventually, of course, once you're like more of a long-term player, once you've been playing for a good while, once you have accumulated a bunch of more resources from just grinding and playing the game daily, then that's usually when you can start spreading out the resources a bit more into more options, right? But usually you want to start with like a small build, and then kind of build up from there, you know, like boom, 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 boom. But yeah, I'll see you guys back though in a bit. We're basically a team. I'll be back basically once it's all over, and then we'll be checking in on how the SP potential system works, basically, as well as my recommendation while using the JJK wiki. But I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so this is my rewards here for clearing it on yellow. I did only make it to 4. Also, yeah, this is a new system they added here where you can basically see the maximum damage and HP and defense that everybody like took and dealt basically. So as you guys can see here, Gojo did the most. Itadori did actually the second most or third most. No, hold on. He did the 4th most. That's actually really funny. Mahito did the 2nd, and then Panda did actually the 3rd most, slightly beating out Itadori, which is a little crazy to think about, right? But then just to show you guys, if you guys were just so you guys can see, like, oh damn, this is how much damage my Gojo did total, right? Or something like that. If you guys are trying to build like a nuke team with Gojo, or with any character, you could totally see it by the end of that, from those stats there. But yeah, you know, not too bad for like overall team. But also, they want to show you guys that because you know, just to show you, like, hey, at the, like I said, very minimal. Very least, as long as you get to the rank 4, you're fine. You're gonna get like at least have a chance to get all the general resources. Even though just to say rare, I did get one of these, right? I do assume though the higher levels you go, you're probably gonna have a chance of getting multiple versions of these, like multiple, like maybe 2 or 3 of these, either one. And well, you know, these are guaranteed to have at least minimum 3, 2, 52, and all that. But yeah, you know, pretty cool stuff. And then yeah, it does say basically anybody that's not the right color, doesn't have the color advantage, will be taking an additional 60% damage. So that's kind of like something kind of incentivize building like a rainbow, or not like a rainbow team, like a full solid team. And then we go to the shop here for exchange. Basically, you use these medals here, which you can obtain from just, you know, it has a chance of coming in from describing those, and they can exchange them for which specific ones you want. So that's kind of cool, right? But yeah, I'll quickly go look into the SP thing, and then we'll be right back with the tier list. So I'll see you guys as well in a bit. All right, chat. So I did a little bit of investigating, and apparently it seems to be an emulator issue as to why the screen pops up blank. So if you're on BlueStack, you should be able to change it to like, I think it was like DirectX. This person said so. Yeah, apparently it's a rendering issue, and OpenGL and Vulkan doesn't work, but apparently DirectX seems to work. So if you guys are able to change it to DirectX, then you know you should be able to see this, because this is basically what you should be seeing on the menu here. Now you can still check it if you go in game here. If you press around, right, it'll still pop up, but you won't be able to actually see like visually like what the heck you're actually looking at. I'm gonna do a little bit more research as to like maybe see if there's an actual LD player to fix it. But it might just be something that LD players themselves have to fix and figure out, and we have to maybe wait for an update, but potentially. But I'll look around, see if maybe there's a way to fix it really quick. But yeah, if you kind of just click around, you kind of just generally like, you know, pick it. But as you guys saw earlier when I got it right, one of these, yeah, was for the SP. Yeah, the same. It's for the SP skill here. So basically, you get more damage here out of this one, and then there might be like one more. But yeah, this is like what the cost is, right? So it's like 4, 6, 20. You need to have all these levels. But yeah, I'm gonna do one more quick look around to see if there's a fix. If not, I'll just tell you guys who I think the best characters are, and then that'll be the rest of the video. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, so this doesn't seem like there's any fix for the time being, which is very annoying, other than probably just using another emulator. So I'd say if you're having this issue and you guys are using LD Player, I think there's a different version of LD Player that may work, so you would have to download that version. And then otherwise, other emulators like Mimu or BlueStack should work, but you would have to basically change either to DirectX or see which one like really works. But yeah, overall, this is basically what it should look like. You know, you got one for AP, for attack crit, you know, stuff like that pretty much. And then the SP stuff is basically going to be like all here. So yeah, very annoying. I hope maybe there's a fix for it, but I might just need to like re-download the game on something else, which like I said, is very annoying. But regardless, we're still going to talk about who you guys should probably go for. As you guys can see, we're just going to be in the tier list here. Random Bar is probably number one you want to go for, mainly. Blue Joker is really, really good, right? Wouldn't be a bad option to go for him because you like a, you know, stronger blue character. Is another great pickup there, or another great option there, you know, to pick up. Green Itadori is actually really good too. So if you guys are looking for to have a strong green team, he would be another good character to go for. Yellow Nabar is not too bad either. Sakurino's not too bad either because it's actually going to be very useful for more difficult stages in the tower. So she's another good option though. I would say maybe wait for her a little bit. I feel some characters like Itadori and this Nabar, Yoga could probably be more useful right away. But eventually you probably do, if you guys do have the Sakurino, you may want to focus her a little bit. And then from there, I personally say Nanami is pretty good to pick up. Because in the beginning, right, he did get a lot of buffs and he was actually really good. Or arguably, I'd say he was probably like an S or A tier. But of course, they rated him down in B tier because, you know, Itadori is probably doing more damage up than Nanami now, right? And then basically everybody else in A tier and below probably wouldn't really worry about. So Nanami, I'd say it's up in the air if you want to try for him. Or you could just say, screw it, I'm gonna just focus on Itadori, Jogo, and this Red Nabara, and then that's it. Could totally do that too, because as you guys can see, right, Nanami does fall off quite a bit, right? Because he used to be like one of the best characters that you get the most benefit out of this in the beginning, but now on JP, not so much anymore. He fell off quite a bit. Because at least from what I remember, people were gassing him up to be like S tier, double S tier for like green team, right? At least if we go to the actual tier list, he was probably more like an S tier character, but like from where he was originally, you know, it was pretty good, right? Like he was probably like, yeah, like A tier, but then he jumped up to like S tier, right? So like, you know, here is like, he's not bad, right? He's actually pretty good as a DPS, right? However, this tier list is going more into depth about like who gets the most value out of this. And as you guys can see, Red Nabar gets the most value out of this, Blue Jogo gets the most out of this, and then Itadori, Sakurino, and this Nabar, this yellow one, do get the most benefit out of it. So these are the main characters you should be focusing on first. And then, you know, even though Nanami isn't that high up on there, you know, he's B tier here, he's actually quite high up on this one, right? But then, of course, you know, Jogo and Red Nabar are like up here, right? So as you can clearly see, there are some characters that do benefit more of it. So just keep that in mind, guys. You know, who you want to go for first. Of course, it probably also depends on who you have. And then it does give you general stats, I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah, it should give you like general, like more HP, more attack, stuff like that. So you can also just give it to like your DPS characters if you really wanted to. That wouldn't be too bad either. Though I'd say it probably makes more sense to give it to your characters that are going to get a lot of buffs out of it. Like Red Nabar jumped from like, I think originally she was like, she was S tier. I'm pretty sure, unless they have the old version in here somewhere. Oh, okay, no, my bad. Apparently, wait, B tier, damn, she was really that bad. Yeah, as you guys can see, right? That's kind of crazy, right? The little B tier unit, and then skyrockets to double S with the SP potential buffs, which is kind of crazy, right? And if you guys are wondering, we'll take a quick look at it. I know this video is already quite long, so if you guys are watching, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, right? The video, but yeah, let's quickly take a look as to what exactly she got from this. So she did get a buff to her skill 3 here, where now you're dealing more damage, or you're increasing your damage from 145 to 217, which is pretty cool. That's a very significant buff. And then you're dealing a lot more damage, up to 942, which the original was 338. Yeah, that's a lot more damage. And then he also deals other AoE one here, 370 with nail count. So yeah, so she does a lot more damage on skill 3. But of course, the thing that matters more, or we're wondering about, is the SP potential, which does seem to affect skill 3 here. Basically changes the value of first energy based on all of these nail counts. So 1 to 4 is 75, 5 to 9 is 40, and then 10 or more nail counts is 50. And then basically, yeah, this is basically the same as what she got, right? Bigger, like a massive damage increase to herself. 217 to give as like a damage buff is kind of nuts, especially for just one. And then of course her max damage can go almost to 1,000, literally basically the same amount as any ult, or like most ultimates in the fucking game. That's the max stacks, right? So if you have like the max stacks here of 11 nails, you basically deal as much as like an ultimate would, right? But even then, I think if you hit up to like between 5 to 9, that probably still in the range of like ultimate levels of damage, right? Not to mention, I think it's also considered AoE, right? Let's see, the higher the nail count. Oh no, oh wait, no, oh my bad, I read this wrong. I thought this was how much damage output you're dealing. No, this is saying how much damage boost you're getting. So basically, you increase your own damage by this amount. So I guess it's saying that the flat amount you're getting is 217. But if you have more nail counts on the enemy, you can give yourself up to a 942 damage dealt buff, is what that's saying. Okay, so my bad, I did read that wrong. still really nuts though. 942 as a damage buff is actually insane. So basically, you're still kind of dealing the same amount of like damage you would do as like an ultimate, right? So that's basically getting added into this or multiplier, you know, like that's a lot of damage. A lot more damage. Also, increases your own ultimate skill charging rate by 15% for 2 turns, so you know, kind of decent there. And then you're dealing 400 damage now instead. So instead of doing 370, you're actually dealing 400 here. And then you're also applying an increased enemies Jujutsu damage received by 12% for 3 turns. And then the higher the nail count, the greater the effect boost up to 25 with 6 nails. So basically, you can apply a 25% increased enemies Jujutsu damage received debuff on them by 25% for 3 turns. So that's very, very cool. Granted, that one downside is that it doesn't remove my nails, but regardless, who fucking cares, right? When you're getting such massive buffs here. So basically, her skill 3 becomes a little nuke move. Like, you're literally going to be able to nuke people with that. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, definitely a great character to go for. Oh, also, she gets the other buff here as well for SP Potential Unleashed. Let's see. So when Black Flash is performed, she increases her own Jujutsu by 45% for 8 turns. And then increases own damage dealt by 25% for 8 turns as well. And you recover 50%. That's pretty cool. So basically, whenever you do a Black Flash, which is basically a crit, you're getting a nice, juicy extra 45% Jujutsu damage and an overall 25% damage buff total damage. So yeah, very, very cool stuff there. Very, very good character there with the buffs. Yeah, I can never see why she's definitely rated up to like, that's like a massive, massive buff, right? As for Jogo here, Jogo, what did he get? So he had to switch up to his ultimate. So he's dealing 800 range damage, where originally it was doing 599, and then with the most recent buff, it was 759. So a bit more damage basically. His domain lasts an extra turn longer. He does more DOT damage, DOT flame damage. He increases his crit rate to 200, which originally it was 197. Increases his own damage dealt by 60 now, which is, you know, very similar numbers here, right? Basically the same. So it's like 200 crit rate, 60 damage dealt, reduces his own damage by 30%. He recovers his own cursed energy by 80, so that one's actually got buffed because the original was about 60. And then, of course, he still has the unable to fill up on ultimate gauge. He doesn't, let's see, does he? Oh yeah, he still depletes his own cursed energy after the domain activates, but he gets this extra buff here, or this extra condition here, where adding additional effects into the following skill while domain is active, Ghost Light increases own Jujutsu step by 50% for 3 turns, and you recover cursed energy by 10. So one thing I've noticed is, at least for this character, for Jogo and Nobara, they both have things that increase their, or recover their cursed energy, which is pretty nice. So basically helps you do some of their other skills. So that's very, very cool. Does this Jogo get anything else? Yeah, looks like he got new. So it looks like SP Potential buffs a skill, or you know, either a skill or the ultimate, and it looks like it has the potential of also giving a new passive buff, which is pretty cool. So this one does is at the start of battle evades enemy attacks by 50% chance, and at the start of each turn increase own damage dealt by 10%. One turn with more cursed energy, the greater the effect, so up to 30 at 60. So if 60 cursed energy, he gets a 30% damage dealt buff. And then if cursed energy is 10 and below, you recover your cursed energy by 10 up to 3 times during battle. So basically, you have like 9 cursed energy, you'll get 10 the next turn, but then you only have 2 more times that you can recover cursed energy by 10. But still, really nice. That's actually very, very nice. And then the last characters we'll probably look at is just Nanami and Itadori, because they're probably the only ones that are really worthwhile. Oh, and I guess Nobara, right? Fair enough, you know, Nobara's also pretty good to check out as well. So Nanami here, let's see what he's getting. So his is going to be it's buffing his ultimate here. I think we did look at it last time on the lose, but we'll take a look at it one more time. So basically, he's dealing combined damage of 800, which originally it was 600 physical, 600 jutsu, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be more damage. Hits are the same. He stops enemy actions for 1 turn at 50% chance, so it's not too bad. He also increases all enemies physical damage received by 30% for 3 turns, which is also very good. Downside though is that it's only recurring characters, but still very nice. So someone like Itadori could still take advantage of it if you run them both in the same team. And then he should also get a new passive here, I'm pretty sure. Potential Unleashed, critical hit enhanced, so increase physical and jutsu step by 30% for 5 turns whenever he does a crit, which is very, very nice. And he increases his own critical hit rate by 20% for 5 turns. And then when you do a Black Flash or crit, or when Black Flash or crit is performed, 80% chance. So I'm gonna assume that it's going to be an 80% chance for critting, I guess. I'm not too sure what this last part means, unless it's saying that like he has a higher chance of like reactivating this buff, but I'm not too sure what exactly this means on the last bit. But yeah, this one seems quite good. Also, oh, that was something important, but no. Yeah, you know, not too bad here overall for what this dude gets here. Everything else should basically just be kind of about the same. So yeah, like not too crazy for buffs, basically just slightly, you know, maybe not slightly, but you know, doing a bit more damage, right? Increasing on Jujutsu and all that. The other character we have is Itadori, who apparently has more, you know, more buffs, you know, is way better than Nanami actually, which I can believe, right? So let's see. So okay, so skill 3. So it looks like a lot of these are basically either the ultimate or skill 3 is what's getting buffed most of the time here. So it's for the good characters. So originally it was 30 curse energy. He dealt 430 physical damage to a selected enemy and increases the selected enemy's critical hit resistance by 51. So that means it'll be easier to crit them for 2 turns. And then a certain chance of performing a black flash in the first to third hit. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. So now the new version, you're dealing 500, so you're getting extra 70% damage to one enemy. That's the same. You're now decreasing the selected enemy's critical hit resistance by 60, so an extra like 9% there. And then you're now increasing your own ultimate skill gauge by 50% every 3 turns. So that's like very similar to the past things we've seen already for some other characters, but that is new. And then now it changes to chance of performing black flash in 4th hit, medium. So basically now you have like I guess what, 50% chance maybe, or 40% chance to crit, but specifically on the 4th hit though, seemingly. So no longer 1 to 3, now it's specifically on the 4th hit. And then massively increases black flash damage. So I'm gonna assume if you do land a black flash on the last hit, that will be extra. It'll basically have more damage. So it looks like it might also have the original here as well. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it is overall buff though, because black flash rate is 10% with this one and 40. Over here it's 30, and then the black flash damage is 100 and 200 for the 4th hit. Whereas now this one's still 100, but the 4th hit is now on 300, so an extra 100% damage. So yeah, basically whenever it does a black flash, it's gonna hit a lot harder. So that's pretty cool. And then the ultimate did get buffed as well. Basically a lot more damage, significantly more damage. Originally it was 890, now it's 1,200. So that's pretty cool. And then he should probably have a new SP potential unleashed here. So when black flash is performed, he recovers own curse energy by 10 and inflicts zone status himself. And the zone is basically increased on black flash to 100, and then increased on Jujutsu or taijutsu stat, my bad, physical stat by 100, which is really, really good, and then increased on black flash damage by 50%. So yeah, basically a lot of stuff that's gonna make him do a lot more damage, significantly more than Nanami seemingly, right? Because a lot more physical damage, way more black flash rate, on top of the other stuff with crits and all that good stuff. So yeah, very, very good stuff here. And then finally we have the Miwa here, who did also get one as well. Here's also skill 3. So originally the cost for critical curse energy still costs the same. Increase on damage by 50. You deal 400 range damage to one enemy, attacks the soul, and then increase the skill damage when you do crit. And then the lower the own HP is, the greater the damage up to 100. So if you have lower HP, that's good. But yeah, okay. So now the new version, you're now getting a 75% damage buff. So that's very, very good. So now you're getting an extra 25. And then they still have the lower your HP mechanic. However, now it's capped at 150 HP. Let's see. So hold on. The greater damage increase up to 150 at 50% HP or lower. Okay, so basically you have 50% HP or lower, you can get up to 150 max damage dealt. So you basically get an extra 50% damage buff. Or damage buff basically off that. So that's still really, really good, I'd say. And then let's see. So then she's doing extra about 100 damage from 400 to 500, and then she's able to actually apply debuff before she stops the select enemy's action for 1 turn, but it does have a 30% chance of actually proccing. And she's also reducing the enemy's critical resistance by 25% for 2 turns, and it can ignore darkness when attacking, so that's pretty cool. And then that's about it. Yeah, so nothing too crazy, but still not too bad. Let's see. And then she did get, she has 2, so she has 1 for her skill 3, and she got 1 for her ultimate too. Okay, so her ultimate originally increased on damage by 112, and then you increase the selected enemy's nail count by 3 for 3 turns, and then depending on how many nails they have, you get an extra damage bonus up to 412 at 9 nails, and then you're dealing almost 500 damage AoE Jujutsu damage based on the nail count, and then you remove all the nails. Okay, so the new version is you still have the same thing with the nails. You're now increasing your damage by 150 instead of 112, so pretty big there, extra 40%. I'd say. And then yeah, then now the new max damage that increased buff can go up to 550, and 9 nails from originally 412, so that's also very good too. And then she can ignore darkness when using her ultimate, so that's good too. Her ultimate now does 550, so significantly more, at least 50% more damage there. And then she increases the targeted enemy's jutsu damage received by 40% for 3 turns, only for yellow type. That's still very, very nice. So basically, if you do your skill 3 next, you know they're gonna take more damage from that, right? From her specifically. And then, but the one downside is that she doesn't remove all the yellow counts. But still very good. I was surprised that she actually has 2 of those. However, she doesn't look like she got any. Yeah, so she didn't get any new passives or auto skills, but she did get 2, like a buff to her ultimate here, and a buff to her skill 3 to basically just make her do more damage. So yeah, not too bad. Pretty good. I'd say out of all of these though, Jogo and then the Renobara got the most amount out of this. I'd say for buffs, like theirs look way better. Also to note, I didn't realize this because I missed a little halfway through. Originally, skill 3 for Renobara did cost first energy, but with the SP potential unleashed, it gets cut in half, 25 first energy. So that makes the skill way better because you can use this a lot more by being 25 instead of 50. So that's very, very huge. Let me see for Jogo's. Did Jogo's get something like that? No, because this is only his ultimate. Yeah, so Jogo's not anything like that because only his ultimate got buffed from that. And then this was Nanami. I don't know if Nanami had anything. He had an ultimate, and then yeah, that was it. So yeah, but yeah, that Renobara one, cutting that curse energy in half is still very, very good too. Yeah, so really good stuff. I'd say it's up to you guys who you want to go for, but like, you know, you can just follow this 1-to-1. I'd say you could probably be fine. Renobara, Jogo, probably Itadori or Nanami because we just went over it. Clearly, Itadori seems to be the way better choice, and might as well know. I mean, it's not like you're wasting resources for Nanami, but like, you know, if we go to the tier list, you know, I mean, yeah, they're in the same tier, but like, I just feel like Itadori's just a little bit better, right? And then of course, for sure, Renobara, Blue Jogo, really good characters. But yeah, sorry about for this video taking so long here. I just, you know, want to get everything down. If any of you guys did stay through the whole thing, I do greatly appreciate it. Views do help, especially for watch time, so very cool for that. But you know, if you guys are come here at the end of the video, you know, I kind of suggest watching the whole thing to kind of get understanding of everything for the most part. But at the same time, you know, understand if you do, I just need parts to like take here and there to understand a couple things really quick. But with that being said, though, that pretty much wraps it up. So I will probably see you guys for should be summoned for Mechamaru, which should be coming out sometime next week. Well, I guess his actual name is Kokichi or Kokichi Muta, so you know, I'll be making a shitty summon for him sometime next week or this upcoming week, and you know, maybe another video along that. But with that being said, though, guys, I'm head on out. Thank you guys for stopping by, and hope you guys have a good day or good night. I hope your summons go well. With that being said, though, I'm head on out. Peace and take care, everybody.